We're now going to begin looking at the factoring review. I just want to kind of go over one more time about the signs and the decreasing power, checking, bottoms up, all those different methods. Remind you also that next time we'll get more involved, a little more in depth with solving quadratic equations. This is just a little overview of what we've done before. In number one, these are problems from column 1 and on your worksheet that's due today, so I'm just decided to work some with you. Starts with number 1, then it'll take multiples of 5 in column 1. In number 1, this is already first set up equal to 0, which is the first thing you're going to look for. Is this set equal to 0? Set equal to 0. Then once it's set equal to 0, you want to be sure that it is in decreasing power. So I have x to the 2, x to the 1, and then I have the constant. Okay? Once you do that, it's in decreasing power. I have all my terms there. Then I'm going to factor. Now, because this has a coefficient of 1, I'm just going to go ahead and straight factor. Set up your two binomials equal to 0. Be very neat with your work. The signs will be different. So in my parenthesis, the signs will be different. One's a plus and one's a minus. It does not matter which you put where. You'll determine those signs a little bit later on. So here I have x plus x minus. So the question is, what are factors of 40 that subtract and give me 18? Factors of 40 that subtract and give me 18. What I would do is I'll go over to the side, kind of go ahead and set up some factor trees, or this is 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, 5 times 8. So the question is, which of these subtract and give me 18? And it's going to be 2 and 20. Remembering that the larger number gets this first sign, 20 goes here and 2 goes here. Then you finish that by setting both of those equal to 0 and solving for x. So we're going to say x plus 2 is equal to 0 and x minus 20 is equal to 0. Then subtract 2 from both sides and x equals negative 2. Add 20 to both sides and x equals to 20. So your answer that you would write in a blank on a test would be negative 2, 20. One of the things I want to add over to the side here is once you factor, set your binomials equal to 0 and then solve for x. Let's just put all the steps up here. All right, in number 10. In this case, I have a little bit going on here. First of all, it is not set equal to 0, which is the first thing I'm going to do. Then it needs to be in decreasing power. So I'm going to do 2 steps at one time. I'm going to bring this negative 55x over, and I'm going to put it in decreasing power all at the same time. So I have 6x squared. Negative becomes positive, plus 9 equals to 0. So I set it equal to 0. The negative 55x becomes positive 55x, and I have put it in decreasing power. X to the 2, x to the 1, and the constant. Now when we factor here, we have to be careful because I have a coefficient. Remember that when we had a coefficient, we used the bottoms up method. In the method of bottoms up, the first thing you do is multiply a times c. That first number times that last number. So we have x squared plus 55x plus 9 times 6 is 54 equals to 0. Then we factor that as we did up here in number 1. We set up our two binomials equal to 0. Go to the caboose. The signs will be the same. They will both be pluses. X plus, x plus. Then the question is, what are factors of 54 that add and give me 55? Well, if I were to go over and do 54, I have 1 times 54, which right there is my 55. Then I have 2 times 27, 3 times 18, 6 times, is there a 4? Nope, 6 times 9. So I'm looking at 1 and 54 to give me that 55. It doesn't matter what, well, it doesn't matter what goes where. I need that to be a plus. Okay, let me go back over. The signs are the same. They're both positive. So these should have both been plus plus. I think I said it but didn't write it. Then what are factors of 54 that add and give me 55? 1 and 54 add and give me 55. Now here's the huge thing that you cannot forget. When you multiply in this 6, you have to remember to divide out this 6. So I have to go back here and divide by 6. And I ask often, when do you reduce a fraction? And it's always. So right here, I'm going to keep this the same right here. This is 1/6, but this will reduce. Let me go back. Take care of all at one time. So right here, 1/6 does not reduce. Because it does not reduce, I'm going to bottoms up. This 6 comes from the bottom up and becomes 6x plus 1. From the bottom up. Then x plus 54 divided by 6 is 9 equals to 0. So this should be my answer, but always, always reduce your fraction before you bottoms up. Here's my bottoms up. 6 comes from the bottom up. Now I'm going to tell you, you're going to go back to this point right here to check, because it's written as a trinomial. If you look, even if you look just at the first two terms, 6x times x, there's my 6x squared. Last term, 1 times 9, there's your 9 right here at the end. And then you can check out or inner if you FOIL that out to see if those are correct. Now, continuing on, we're not quite there. Remember that we want to set these equal to 0 to solve for x. So I have 6x plus 1 equal to 0. And then you're going to subtract 1 from both sides, and that's negative 1. Divide by 6, and x equals negative 1/6. Take your second parenthesis, x plus 9 equals to 0. Subtract 9 from both sides, and x equals negative 9. So if I were writing this answer in the blank, I would write negative 9 and negative 1/6. So that would be my answer there. We'll pick up on the next one on the next video.